on what the Supreme Court, has said in its the Facebook post by the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly on Facebook. It's captioned, "Elected local government chairmen remain in office until council elections are conducted, Supreme Court of Nigeria." That's how to put it. And now they went ahead to say, under Section 135, subsection 3 of the Constitution, the tenure of for the president provided for by Section 135, subsection 2 thereof, shall be extended for a period not exceeding a period of 6 months by a resolution of the National Assembly if it is not practicable to hold elections. By the same token, by law of the State House of Assembly, the tenure of local government councils can be legally extended for any reason such as insecurity, or it becomes impracticable or oh my goodness. But you get the word. Yeah, I'm having a problem with pronunciation. But then again, it went on to say, impossible for elections into the local government councils to be conducted. Now, the mandate given to an elected local government council is the mandate of the electorate of that local government area. And if the tenure is extended, it is the people's mandate that is extended. Now, that is the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly quoting the principal assembly led DSS. So please, I would like you to explain this, because we already have a high court judgment that says it is illegal. What does this mean then?
First of all, Mr. Kalada, let me say that I have made comments before that public confidence in the judiciary is diving, and I make such comments taking cognizance of what's happening in Rivers State. Let me say this, and I'm saying it with every element of it. So much has been done in the Rivers State judiciary, and the judiciary, one way or the other, needs to sit up and make sure that the public confidence that has nosedived is one way or the other remedied. You see, when a court wants to, the House of Assembly is unconstitutional. No judge has the right to judge, but those powers are limited by the provisions of the Constitution. A judge can give a judgment, but you see, the judgment of a court, when it has to do with an arm of government, must be in consonance with the provisions of the Constitution. No judge is allowed to just give a judgment to say this action of the House of Assembly is unconstitutional when you do not cite the section of the Constitution contravened. So when you take a look at the provisions of the Constitution, you begin to ask yourself, which provision of the Constitution does the local government amendment law contravene? None. In any case, there is what we call the rule of law, which is exactly what the Supreme Court has done. So what the Supreme Court has done is, by implication, nullifying even that judgment. Because the Supreme Court has now said that the House of Assembly has the power to extend the tenure of local government. But do not forget,
where is it written? I want to know, when you said the Supreme Court as...
Can you clearly? I don't know, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me, Mr. Kalada?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. When you take a look at the judgment of the Supreme Court with respect to the issue of local government autonomy, the Supreme Court made it explicitly clear that it is the House of Assembly that rights to make laws with respect to local government, and indeed tenure extension to the local government. In the case of LGAs against the nation, the Supreme Court made it explicitly clear that everything has to do with tenure of judgments that set of Rivers State that court that find local government. Why is the reasoning of that judgment? I have always said that judgment will be based on pure legal principles, so that litigants don't feel that judgments are based more on extraneous factors. And that's why I'm saying that public confidence in the judiciary is nosediving. And the judiciary needs to sit up and correct and launder the image. That's the simple truth. The House of Assembly has a right. Remember, it is the House of Assembly that creates the local government.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Local government are already provided for. You will see that the list of local government for each state has already been mentioned. So what the House of Assembly does is to give effect to them. Now, if you want to create local governments, independent local government, outside the one provided for in the Constitution, that's a constitutional amendment. If it doesn't meet a constitutional amendment, well, the state can call them LGAs. But local governments
appeal. However, when you put that side by side with the Supreme Court or this act of Supreme Court, is there a confusion? Is there a legal confusion? Because non-lawyers, not legal practitioners like us, are looking at this and we're saying, what is this again? What is this again? What kind of confusion are we having in Rivers State? Uh, how do you think this should be handled, both by the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly and the River State government?
Purely, very simple. There's what we call the doctrine of stare decisis. Judgment of the Supreme Court binds every other court. But beyond this, I tell you, Mr. Kala, that time will kill laws. Time is revealing so much that is happening of a lot of things that are happening in River State. It will also obscure so much. How most times some of these judgments emanating from the River State judiciary do not stand the test of time. It gives me a cause of concern. Most of the judgment stands the test of time. So we do not have any conflict. Judgment of the Supreme Court binds every other court. So irrespective of whatever judgment the lower court has given, once the Supreme Court has given a judgment, it binds them. So there is no issue. There is no conflict. It's not a question where they are not courts of coordinate jurisdiction. They are not courts of concurrent jurisdiction. This is the Supreme Court of the land. The judgment of the Supreme Court binds every other
so
court,
what is
including every other person and authority.
So what should the Martin-led assembly do? Because I hear they have appealed, Justice Q's judgment. Is it them? I think they did. So what is it? Are they supposed to take the Supreme Court judgment and show it to the Court of Appeal, or will the Court of Appeal automatically just give a judgment based on what the Supreme Court has said?
You have already answered the question. What would the Court of Appeal do if the Supreme Court has given a judgment? What we will now be expecting is maybe for the House of Assembly to give effect to the local government amendment law. For me, I think that's the most important question to be answered. It's not what they should now do at the Court of Appeal or indeed at the Supreme Court. It is now for the House of Assembly, in the light of what the Supreme Court has said, in the light of the pronouncement of the Supreme Court, to now give effect to the local government amendment law.
Okay.
Remember, one point just to note, that the judgment of the Supreme Court actually ordered for immediate compliance. In other words, as of today, it is unconstitutional. It is illegal for anybody to represent himself
but
as a member of the
some
capital.
lawyers have also said it is illegal for the extension of but we do have a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue with this debate. Remember, if you're listening to Hard Facts, and we are taking a break from conversations surrounding protests to go back to what we used to talk about the most, which is the political drama in River State. I'll be right back. To stay tuned. news, but I've been placed a copy of the certified through I did look to talk about, and I did come across that document, and I decided we should talk about it and local government of documenting. Traffic restored after end bad governance protest, barricade in Port Harcourt. Military vows to deal with looters. Appeal to protesters to avoid violence. 4 northern states place curfew amid nationwide protests. Police arrest suspected looters of NCC Park in Kano State. Labour Party's Peter Obi calls for arrest, prosecution of those behind threats against Igbos. On the foreign scene, France instigates death threats against Olympics ceremony director. Details in the 6 p.m. bulletin. To reach the news team, do send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215.
And now, hard facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Hard facts with Kalada Kurubatabo. With me on the show via the phone is Godspower, Egbule, Esquire, a Rivers-based lawyer. Welcome back. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalada.
All right. Quickly, I'm trying to, I'm trying to understand the implication this would have. I know you're saying the Supreme Court is the finality, is the final court, and that the Court of Appeal would have no other option but to rule in tandem with what the Supreme Court has said. However, pending that day when the Court of Appeal would have its sitting, based on that issue, what then happens in Rivers State? Because the politicians from either side, either divide, they have the habit, the attitude of selecting what judgment or order to take. For instance, the PDP had 2 orders from a high court or from several high courts saying, okay, do not hold Congress. But we saw them hold Congress on Saturday based on another order from another high court. So it's like, shopping here, get there. So what is the implication as a lawyer? How do you see this playing out with the attitude of politicians that we have in the state?
Okay, Mr. Kalada, can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
First, you have brought up the issue of the Congress. Well, legally speaking, let me say this, that it's not just enough to get an order of court, especially an ex parte order. When you get an ex parte order, the implication is that the other party is not in court, and you must put the other party on notice. You put the other party on notice primarily, first, by service personally. Alternatively, the court can give you opportunity to serve the other party by substituted means. Until you serve, that order does not operate or bind the other party or restrain the other party from taking such action. If you take a look at the order that, I don't know, is it Honorable Justice Wali, the second one that
there was Peter Ifu, there was Wali.
Okay, yeah. I think the second one from the Rivers State Judiciary is that of Wali, and Wali ordered that the order itself be published in the national newspaper. So, Mr. Kalada, I'm going to ask you as a journalist, have you seen such order being published in the national newspaper? Because until that is done, the other parties that you intend to restrain will not be restrained, because that order has not been brought to their notice. The only way that order will be brought to their notice and indeed have legal effect for them to stop the Congress is that you publish it. If you take a look at that order, you'll see it, that the court ordered them to serve the originating processes, and indeed the court order by publishing same in the national newspaper, circulating in Rivers State.
All right.
They owe the public a duty to show that they have complied with that order for them to now ask that the Congress should not hold. Until they do that, I'm sure that those who they intend to restrain would always deny that they are not aware of it.
Now, Barrister Egbule, that's not our focus. My point, or the point I was trying to make
I'm coming. I want to answer your question now.
Okay.
Now, the question is, why do politicians cherry pick? I have always held this opinion by which I stand, that we should not allow politicians to be defining the narrative. We should take a look at what the law has provided. If the law has provided A, B, C, we should not allow politicians to justify it. The law has said, prior to this time, that caretaker is unconstitutional. Whichever argument anybody makes to want to set up caretaker, Mr. Canada, we shouldn't hear that person. That's the first thing to do. See what the Constitution says. In Section 1 sub 2, it says that the Federal Republic of Nigeria shall not be governed. Now shall any person or group of persons take control of the government of Nigeria or any part thereof, except in accordance with the provisions of this Constitution. Any part thereof, including the local government, you must not take charge of it except as provided in the Constitution. Section 7 of the Constitution has said
sorry, come again. So nobody is allowed to take control of any government. Is that what the law says?
Or any part of it, yes. Except as provided by the Constitution. That's the constitutional requirement. And it was even upon this that the Supreme Court made that pronouncement that caretaker remains unconstitutional.
Please, I keep interrupting you and I apologize. Can you draw my attention to what part of the Constitution that is, where that is?
This is Section 1 sub 2.
Section 1 sub 2. Okay.
Sub 2 of the Constitution.
Okay.
So you see, so when you now see people who say, oh, I am caretaker this, caretaker that, you're already offending the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution, you can't start as it is today. Nobody can address himself as a member of the caretaker because it's against the provisions of the Constitution. I see a lot of people say, oh, but they are not elected local government chairmen, so therefore these people are just here on the basis of doctrine of necessity. It is that doctrine of necessity that the Supreme Court nullified. The Supreme Court said this thing that you're standing on, whether you call it doctrine of necessity or by whatever appellation you want to Christ in it, we hereby nullify it. Right. It now takes us back. What do we now do with the local government? See, Mr. Kalada, I have always commended the 10th Assembly. It's not because I know them. But when you see an assembly that tries as much as possible to use the legal process to solve our issues, you must commend them. Because what do we do to local governments in the light that the governor has refused to conduct election? What do we do? And it has nothing to do with Rivers State. It can be anywhere. What do we do with local government where a governor refuses to conduct election? The House of Assembly comes in. The House of Assembly says, pending when you conduct election, the elected ones extend their tenure. If you put that side by side with caretaker, which one do you think is more constitutional? Even without the Supreme Court giving a pronouncement on it. You have people elected, you have chairmen and councillors elected by their people, but you have failed to conduct local government election because you think that local government exists at your whims and the caprice. But the Supreme Court said no. That is exactly why we need to commend the 10th Assembly for making that amendment to the law. That pending when you conduct election, they would continue to stay.
All right.
What is wrong with that law? Nothing.
Okay, I would have to pause you now. Some people are asking a question. Someone just sent a message, says, please, I want to ask, is Rivers State only the state that has caretaker committee members? Why is VK supporters? Why are VK supporters trying to enforce Supreme Court judgment? I don't understand. Please, they should leave the governor alone to work. Thanks. And that brings me to my next question. Who is supposed to enforce the Supreme Court judgment? Because I have been told that the Rivers State House of Assembly is the legislative arm of government and does not have the power to enforce or execute a law.
Mr. Kalada?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now. Please, come again.
Okay, I was asking based on a question, a message I just read, and the question is: since the legislative arm of government is, as what it is, legislative, that's the River State House of Assembly, I beg your pardon, is the legislative arm of government and cannot execute a law. Who is supposed to enforce the Supreme Court law? Because now the matter is, the Martin Amaewhule-led assembly is insisting that the ex-chairman are still chairman. Mr.
Kalada, to know who will enforce the law, you now have to go and look at the amendment law.
Sorry, you were breaking for a bit, so can you repeat yourself? Thank you.
Okay, am I clear now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For you to know who should enforce the law, you now have to go and look at what the River State Local Government Amendment Law number 4, 2024 says. You know, it doesn't vest absolute power on the governor. It says that where the governor refuses to act, remember, there is a duty placed on the governor to swear in already elected local government chairman whose tenure has elapsed, but because of the inability of RISEC to conduct elections, that the governor should swear them in to continue for such number of times that the House of Assembly has approved. Then the law also says that in the event that the governor fails to do so, which to me, I would always want to query why, why would the governor not want to do that? But the House of Assembly now has a right to appoint judicial officers for them to take their oath of office. Simple. So it's not something that you would say that in the event that the governor fails or refuses to implement that law, nothing can happen. You see, I'm sure that even the House of Assembly also took cognizance of these lapses on the part of the governor that may arise. So it's not just, if the governor fails to do it, nothing else can happen. No.
Okay. There is still the argument about the legitimacy of Martin Amaewhule led assembly, and that is in court. Wait, Esquire. That matter is in court, right? And so we're not going to dwell on that issue. However, if their legitimacy is being questioned, then can the laws that they make be allowed to stand, given that if the court finds them guilty, everything that they have done would be seen as null and void? And if it would be seen as null and void, then why should what they have made as law be enforced? Just a question of lawyers like me.
Okay. Mr. Kalada, there is logic and there is law. It's important that I stay on law and leave those who want to argue logic to argue logic.
I'm the one arguing logic with you now.
I'm coming.
Okay.
No. I'm saying what people. I'm not talking about you. I'm saying what people say.
Okay.
Mr. Kalada, you say the matter in safe court. Imagine that someone comes to you and takes you to court and say your name is not Kalada Koru Batubo, and that pending when the matter is determined, you should stop answering that name. I mean, why should that be done? You are the one contesting that they are not members of the House of Assembly, and you have gone to court. So allow the court to give judgment. If the court now gives judgment, either way the court gives its judgment, then we will now know. But until the court gives judgment, remember, they are members of the River State House of Assembly, and they have the number of times they should sit in a year. So no court would restrain them from sitting.
Okay.
So you are the one that has gone to court. So allow the question I want to ask people is, you have gone to court that they are not members of the House of Assembly. Why don't you allow the court to sit? Okay, now you have gone to court, you want them to not sit. What if the court now says they are members of the House of Assembly? What would now happen to the wasted years they didn't sit? So if the court now gives judgment tomorrow, they are not members of the House of Assembly, we can take it up from there.
Okay.
But pending that judgment, please, they are members of the River State House of Assembly.
Now, let me then ask this question once again: who is supposed to enforce this law, the local government law as amended? Who is supposed to enforce it? I know you said it's written in that law, but let's get clearly. I mean, whether the law is valid or not, just going by what the Supreme Court has said, who is supposed to enforce that there is the extension of ex-chairmen?
If you take a look at Section 4 of the Local Government Amendment Law, it actually provides that upon the expiration of the tenure of local government, where no election is conducted, the governor will swear in the already elected members, because election has not been conducted. But in the event that he fails to do that, the River State House of Assembly will now appoint judicial officers for them to take their oath of office. Other than taking oath of office, there is no other thing that the governor is supposed to do. Remember, we're talking about a tier of government. What else is the governor supposed to do? By virtue of a Supreme Court judgment, they run the administration of local government. Their funds now come to them directly. So what else? The only thing the governor will do is to swear them in. And the House of Assembly has donated such power to the governor. But that in the event that the governor fails to do so, the House of Assembly can take up such action and appoint judicial officers to swear them in. Simple.
Okay, let's take some calls now. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007. Those are the call numbers. For WhatsApp messages, 0809003. I don't know if I should call the message number because I've got tons of messages already, and I don't know where to start from. So maybe I wouldn't call. For those who already have sent, I try reading your message or messages on Facebook. We're live, Nigerian for PH. On YouTube, we're live, Nigerian for PH. We're active on X, Nigerian for PH. Let's get your thoughts. Let's start with this. Let's see who's here.
Missed that one.
92.3 Nigerian info.
Yeah, Mr. Kalada.
Yeah, what's your name?
Good evening.
It's still okay. Go ahead. What's your name?
ASP Osuma, retired.
ASP. That's your police officer or former police officer.
Yes, retired.
All right, welcome then.
Yes, Mr. Kalada. What are these people before? I mean, the Martin and Amaewhule people. Did they extend the tenure of the chairman when they have defected, or after they have defected?
Okay, so ASP retired. That's what I told the lawyer. We can't talk about because the matter is in court. So we'll wait for the court.
Because it's subjudicial. Okay, but the issue is when they have defected was when they made that law.
Yeah,
like the section the lawman is talking about. If you just defect to any other party, automatically your seat is vacant.
Okay.
If the party that sponsored you into that house and you defect, you automatically your seat is vacant. And that is the law which I know. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And that's why I've been asking the question. Let's even leave the law as amended aside. The Supreme Court did say that the tenure of the chairman should be extended and not a caretaker. See, that's where the confusion is, and that's why I'm saying, which one do we follow as a people? I'm even asking you, which do you think the government should follow? Should the government follow what the Supreme Court has said, which is extension, or maybe I should read it again before I take my next call. As posted, you can go see for yourself on the River State House of Assembly page. I want to believe in control of Martin Amaewhule-led faction. And it says that under Section 135, subsection 3 of the Constitution, the tenure of 4 years of the president provided for by that section or by Section 135, subsection 2 thereof shall be extended for periods not exceeding a period of 6 months at any time by a resolution of the National Assembly if it is not practicable to hold elections. By the same token, by law of a State House of Assembly, the tenure. Okay, so we need the law of the State House of Assembly. Okay, I see that now. So that's where the argument is. I'll get back to the lawyer on that one. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Good evening.
Yeah, greetings. Matthew, I need you to be audible. I can barely make out what you're saying.
Okay. Mr. Canada. See, the topic of discussion is very clear with what your guest in the studio is saying. It's a very straightforward thing. If the Supreme Court says the caretaker is unconstitutional, and the Constitution also does not keep there shouldn't be vacancy in government. Now, the Martin Assembly, in their wisdom, decided, or they say the body language of the governor, and they went ahead to extend the tenure of the elected government, the chairman. Meaning, when you extend their tenure, you're also extending the tenure, the mandate of the people, which is the law stated by the Supreme Court. So all this alone shows that the chairmen are the authentic people to occupy the position until the election is conducted in the state. Caretaker is unconstitutional, and we know that. And there is no court of competent jurisdiction that has declared the seat of these assembly members vacant. So why are we still into this discussion? In fact, the young man said something. He said logic is different from law. And the logic is simple. If someone says, Kalada is not your name, and the case is in court, does it mean you will stop operating with that name until there is a judicial judgment? It is very simple. So people should start selling confusion in the state. Oko Jumbo Assembly and Oko Jumbo is illegal.
That matter is in court. That matter is in court. So we would not. Please turn off your radio set, whoever. Hello.
Hello, man of the people.
Yeah, what's your name? Please tell me.
Gift calling from Yanegua.
Gift, I can hear my voice and it sounds somehow. Please, can you turn off?
That meaning is like, what about now?
I can hear my voice. So
okay.
Please call
no radio here.
Call back then. Call back, please. Oh, okay. I do think the echo is. Godspower, are you the one with?
No, not from me. Kalada, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there was an echo just not too long ago. I can hear you now. All right,
Okay.
let's take this call. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Good evening, Sir Kalada. Thank you very much. Madam Dr. Gokana.
Madam Dota, welcome.
Thank you. I'm listening to your guests, and I think each time you have these guests, I'm happy to listen to you.
Some people are not.
Because the things he says are the things that enters into my head.
Okay.
It's not just any of them like that. Now that he has said, my view is simple. Both this, the caretaker chairman and the people we voted for as chairman, and even the people in the assembly are all our brothers and sisters. I therefore want to say that with what your guests have told us this evening, I think the government should do the needful and let our state move forward. We are the same people, so that this crisis merchant who think that only when there is crisis in River State they will go fast, should please have another position to themselves and let our state have peace.
All right, then.
Madam Dr. Kana, thank you, sir.
Madam Dota, thank you very much. This one says, Kalada, please don't ever tell us again that Rivers people are peaceful people. They are very troublesome people. They like trouble upon trouble. In fact, court case is in their bloodstream. To Fiakwa, your tenure as LG chairman is over. You vacate the office. Whether election has been held or not is none of your business, Michael Newmold. Michael, I'm a Rivers person and I'm very peaceful. I don't think I'm troublesome. But let's look at this one. The worst thing that happened to Rivers State is the 10th Assembly, an assembly that made laws to favor their master after the master left on the round to repeal such laws. What a show of shame. How I wish you have another lawyer to put him correct. Can law exist without logic? Odumegu Sonny Didia from Omerelu. Let's see. And this one says, and that's why, okay, you said, ask your guests if just committee of friends as state assembly members after they left PDP. And that's why the governor is not working with them, because they are not assembly members. Jaja Maxwell. Okay, like I said, the matter is in court. I'm not going to step on that one. I'm going to wait for the court. I think it's been postponed to sometime in a time. This is to the LGA law that was abrogated by the High Court and now reinstated. I doubt he is right. The court's decision to abrogate those sections subsists until it is vacated by a Superior Court. Is that not what lawyers tell us? The lawyer is basically saying that the state should implement the rightest wrong ahead of the wrongest wrong, but both are wrong, so it's neither here nor there. Text from Oibo. So what do you make of that? I mean, I asked you that question before, and now he's asking it again. Does the Supreme Court automatically overturn what the Federal High Court has declared? And that's what I'm asking, and I've asked that question again.
Mr. Kalada, please come again. I didn't get you clearly.
Oh, my. I'm saying someone just brought up...
First of all, just to say, if there's any question anybody asks, please just let me know so I can answer them, because I didn't actually hear the comments and questions asked during this time.
Okay. What will happen is I do have a commercial coming up in about 60 seconds. But the question is, does the Supreme Court automatically set aside the Justice Kyo's judgment that the local government amended law is illegal? And I'm asking because we have been told, and that's what text from Oibo is asking, that no judgment is automatically set aside, that you would have to vacate that judgment. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. Kalada, quite simple. Let me clarify an issue. There's a difference between a rule of law and a principle of law. You know, when you talk about a rule of law, like the judgment of the Supreme Court, automatically takes effect. You know, the Supreme Court gave a judgment. Automatically, the Supreme Court gave a judgment that caretakers are not constitutional. Do you now need to wait until the Supreme Court gives a pronouncement as to whether caretakers committee of River State is constitutional? Rule of law operates in general dimension. They are different from principles of law.
In River State situation, there is the Federal High Court, or rather, there is the State High Court judgment. Okay, you know what? I do have a commercial.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I do have a commercial. I'll come back to you in 3 minutes. Okay. Do station, please.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back after this.